Okay, so, yeah. So maybe I should just recopy that. Yeah, I want some room to work. So let me recopy that. So house farm painting. So I'm gonna, this is number one. This is section 3.2. So house farm painting. And then it was Bobby, Andre, Chad. Oh, not there. Here. Bobby, Andre, and Chad. Like that. And the numbers were 147, 438. Oops. 38, 54, 60 down there. 60, 50, okay, 147, 50. And what was it? 435, 420. And finally, 51. All right, so you want to copy that? Is that the same numbers we had last time?
Yeah.
They didn't change them on us?
No.
Good, it's all the same? Good, good. So you've already got that down then, probably. So there's the question we were working on last time, and it's basically the inheritance for those three, right? We were kind of about maybe a third of the way through. So let's do this one in its entirety, and then I'll do the clicker thing, and we can do another one of these. So, okay. So house, farm, painting, Bobby, Andre, Chad. So they're going to ask us a million questions about who gets what. So first off, how do you decide who gets the various objects? Like, who gets the house? Highest bidder. It's just simply highest bidder, right? So who is the highest bidder on the house?
Chad.
Yeah, Chad bid 150, whereas Andre and Bobby bid only 147,000. So highest bidder gets the house. The farm goes to Bobby, and the painting goes to Andre. So that's first off that. And then we have a column. What was the next column I did? I called it fair or total. I did the total, right? Next I did total. So I want to give you this whole process. You can put it on your 3x5 card for the next test and how you total these all up. So, and then somebody just want to read me those? What were those totals? Do you have those?
39
639?
for Bobby.
Right, 639. And the next one?
642 for Andre.
642.
And 621 for Chad.
621 for Chad?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Right, so I just added those up. Like that. And then I did what the fair amount. And that means dividing by 3, because we have 3 people. But you always divide by the number of people, because that's a fair share. So I divided each of those by 3, and we got 213,000, 214,000, and 207,000, which would be a fair share for each of those 3 people. Remember that? It's making sense. Because all that is, Bobby bid all together $639,000. That's what he thinks those 3 objects are worth. And so he thinks, there's 3 people, so divide that by 3. For Bobby, a fair share is $213,000. Make sense? So you just take what they believe, they could write anything they want, what they believe all the stuff is worth, divide by 3, and you get what would be a fair share for them. So when all is said and done, if we give Bobby $213,000 worth of stuff, money and objects, according to how he values objects, then he'll have to say that he was treated fairly, right? Same thing for Andre and Chad. So that's the goal. By the end of this thing, we will have given people objects and money so that they all feel in their own value system that they got a fair deal in the inheritance. So the next column was pay get. Did I call it the pay get column? Is that what I called it?
I don't remember.
Something like that?
But you did it.
How about I call it pay get now? Yeah, I don't know. It's a good way to go. Because it has to do with how much money you basically pay what I did?
Yeah.
Pay into the estate or get back from the estate, right? If you get stuff that's too valuable, like Bobby, he's being given the farm. I mean, that's just too much, right? He's going to have to pay back some money because he's getting too much. Whereas, like, Andre's only getting the painting. You know, he's going to have to get some money with that painting to have a fair share. So remember how we do the pay-get column. The pay-get, let me just write it over here, because that's kind of the most tricky one. The pay-get is you always take the object that they got, object or objects, minus the their fare. So like for Bobby, it would be 438 minus his 213. I'm going to subtract those numbers. So for Bobby, he got the object, the farm, worth 438,000. Subtract what he thought he should have got as a fair share. Subtract those two, and what do you get? 225?
Yes,
225. 225,000. That means that's what he's going to have to pay back into the estate. Are you tracking with me? Right? Because Bobby was given something in his own value system that he said was way more valuable than what he said should be a fair share for him. These are both his words, aren't they? He said that he thought the farm was worth 438. Adding up his totals, a fair share for him was 213. So he was given too much. In his own value system, he was given too much, wasn't he? So subtract those, and he owes $225,000 back into the estate. Well, let's do the same thing for Andre. For Andre, what object did Andre get? The 60. Subtract Andre's fare. And you're going to get a negative number, right? And that's right. We want that negative. You know, it's kind of like accounting here, you know. Negative and positive into the estate, negative out. So subtract that. What is that? Minus
154.
154? Thank you. Minus 154,000. What does that mean? That negative means, remember, this is from the estate's perspective. I could write estate. You don't have to. It's the estate. In other words, it's coming out of the estate. It's negative from the estate's perspective. So in other words, $154,000 is going to have to be paid out of the estate to Andre so that he'll get a fair share. Because he only got $60,000 painting. So give him $154,000 cash, and then he'll believe he got a fair deal. Making sense so far? Can you do the last one? Do that third one. Calculate. The 150. It's the object first minus the fare. What's that? Minus 57. So again, that's out of the estate. So that means Chad's going to get the house for 150, and he's going to get 57,000 in cash. That'll bring him to $207,000 fair share. And Chad will feel he got a fair share. So we're almost done. There's like one more stage where you do a final reconciliation, but that's almost it. We can go back now. We can see that answer is about the first, 6, 7, 8 questions, maybe 9 or 10. Let's go back. I'll come back to this in a second. Let's go back and we'll see tons of questions like describe the first settlement. Who gets the house? Well, Chad. We already said Chad got the house. And the player who gets the house, Chad, does he pay money or get money? Well, you can see right there that I said he gets money. Is that true? Go back to Chad, who got the house. So negative means you get, and positive means you pay. Negative is you get money, positive is you pay money. Remember, because it's from the estate's perspective. So if it's negative, it's coming out of the estate to you. You're getting money. If it's positive, you're paying it into the estate. So for Chad, the person that got the house, he's going to negative get $57,000, isn't he? So we can go back and answer that question. That player gets money, and there's the amount of money he gets, $57,000, just like we said. Good so far? We roll down the screen. There's a bunch of other questions we're going to answer the same. Okay, third one. Who gets the painting? Well, painting right here. 6,000. Andre gets it, and Andre is minus 154. Minus, remember, means negative, means you get. So Andre gets the painting, and he gets 154,000. So Andre gets the painting, and he gets 154,000. So there we go. Those are all good. Now, here comes the last question. It's the only one we haven't answered. What is the surplus? I'm telling you, it's 14,000. How did I come up with that? What is surplus? Surplus means extra left over in the estate when all is done. So here's how you calculate surplus. Super easy. It's almost our last thing. Last thing on this problem. The surplus is all of these things added and subtracted. So in other words, it's 225 minus 154. Use your calculator, minus 57,000. If you do that, you'll get 14,000. That's extra left in the estate after all is, done, after everybody's got their stuff. That's surplus, that's extra. And the reason is because Bobby paid so much money, 225, when Andre and Chad took out their money, there was still $14,000 left over. Notice, everybody got a fair deal in their own value system, and there was still money left over. That's the amazing thing about this system. Right? They each wrote down what they thought was fair. They could write anything they want. And we ended up giving them all a fair deal in their value system, right? We either gave them money, or we gave them objects, or they had to pay money. But in the end, they all got a fair amount according to what they had written down, how they value things. They couldn't trick each other because they were all writing their own thing down. There's no way to do that. And there was still $14,000 left over. Why is there leftover money? Why doesn't it come out exact? It's because we're giving to the highest bidder the objects. If you gave to the lowest bidder, you'd run out of money. That's the genius of the system. They give to the highest bidder the object. So that means there's always going to be extra money coming into the estate. You'll always have a surplus, $14,000. Who gets the $14,000? Real life? The lawyers, and half the rest of the money too, right? But anyway, we'll pretend there's no lawyers in this situation. Is that good then? Does that make sense? All is well. 14,000 surplus. So that was the last. And okay, final division. What it is you take that surplus and you break it up equally among the other three. That's all they're talking about. So let me go back to our screen. Okay, so the surplus is the 14,000. So now what you do, let me kind of move this out of the way so we can do it down here. So one more time. So over here, okay, over here, let me erase this and say surplus. One more time, surplus is the 225 minus the 154, which I know we already did this, just putting it on the screen again, minus 57. So that comes out to 14,000. We already did that. Okay, now what do you do with that surplus? You divide it by 3 because it's extra money. You divide it by 3. And somebody have a calculator? What is 14,000 divided by 3 rounded to the nearest dollar? It's going to be 4,000 something. 6. Just 6 is forever. So we'll round that to 667. Right, because anything 5 or more, you round up. So they say somewhere in the problem, round to the nearest dollar. So we'll round that to $4,667. What is that? That's the extra money each of them is going to get. We'll pretend there's no lawyers at all in this problem. So that means that surplus, that 14,000 extra dollars that was in the estate after everybody got a fair share, divided by 3, they each get an extra $4,667. They get better than fair. Right? They're already at what they said was fair. Now they're getting an extra $4,667. So what do you do with that? You subtract it. Yeah, I know that might seem weird because we're giving it back. But remember, it's money that's going out of the estate. Remember, negative is get. Negative is like accounting. You got to kind of remember, you're balancing the book, so to speak. So you subtract it from each of them because it's money coming out of the estate. You're always taking the estate's perspective. It's negative. It's flowing out of the estate to each of them. So just run them on your calculator. 225,000 minus 4,667. Somebody got that first number? It's going to be 221. Wait, maybe I can do it. 221,333. I think. Is that right?
I got 220.
Oh, you're right. I can't do it. Yep, you're right. You seem to uncertain. If the calculator says it, I'm wrong. Yeah, 220. Speak with confidence with that calculator. You were right. You're right. Next one, okay, I'm gonna try again. 149,333? If I can fix my math this time, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. All right, good. I'm good this time. Next one. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. Sorry, I'm wrong again. These are both negative. So they're gonna add to be a bigger negative. Right? They're both negatives. When you add a negative, it's not multiplying. Two negatives multiply to be positive. We're not multiplying here. This is a loss and a loss, which is a big old loss to the estate. It's a big gain for Andre, right? Negative means Andre gets a bunch. So we're actually adding those. So that'll be 158,667, right? Because you're adding those. The other one we're adding as well, 61,667. There we go. Right? So two negatives add to be bigger. But so now when you enter the answers on Math Excel, whatever, you don't put negatives in. You know, that's just for us to know that this is, you know, it's money they get, negative because it's coming out of the estate. So in the end, Andre's going to get 158,667, and Chad's going to get 61,667, and Bobby's not going to have to pay quite as much. He's only going to have to pay 220,333. So they're all getting better than fair in their own value system. Let's go back and make sure those numbers are right. I hope they are. 220 and 158, 61. Let's see. 220. Yep, boom, boom. Those look right, don't they? There they are. And now the problem is really over. What we just did there is called the final settlement. So that last part, because you kind of like have the initial, like what they get at first, and then you take the surplus and you give them a little bit more. And that's the final settlement. So that's a big, tedious calculation. Is that making sense? All right, let's go back. Let's go back to wherever it is. There it is. Yeah, so this right here is called the final settlement. It's all is said and done. Final settlement. We good? Feel like you could do that? So what you should do is put one example of that in your 3x5 card, you know, week after next. You know, one example of one of these things worked out. And we'll do one now. Questions before we go try one? Making that whole table? All right. So 3 people, so divide it. So there's the question. So find the totals and then divide them by 3 because there's 3 people. We don't care how many items. We care how many people for fairness. So add those up. Has anybody got a new clicker today?
Yeah.
And needs a code? So if you could come on up real quick. Here, let me write the totals just so we can keep you rolling. Somebody got it for me? What's the total of the first one? Mr. Calculator Man here, I trust you. What you got for that first one?
Yeah.
What is it? 104? Okay, sounds good. And the second one? 95,000? 95? Okay. And the third one? 115. Is that good? We all getting that? And then divide them each by 3. So, are they coming out ugly already? Oh, it's too bad. Okay, so what's that first one then? It's 33 and then 34, 3, something ugly? Is it 34,000?
Yeah, 34, then like 0.66 all the way to
34, 666, and 0.67. Because you got to round it all the way. Oh, this is so dumb. They made us go to the penny. Okay. Yes. So 34, 666.67. Is that right? I think rounded to the nearest penny. Yeah, you got to go all the way to the penny on this example. And then 95 divided by 3. I don't know. Is it 32 something? No, 31 something, huh? 31 and then 666, same kind of thing? Yeah, okay. 666.67. And then 115, that's not nice either, is it? 33, 16 more. Is it 38? And then is 6 is all the way again?
3.
Oh, 3 is all the way. 333.33. All right, that's terrible. All right, you guys getting that? That okay? So if you get that, so next row will be the pay get. So let's do the pay get. So the pay get, remember what you do for the pay get. For the pay get, you take the object minus the fare. Oh, you got to give away the objects first. Yeah, so go up there for each object. Like so look at item number 1. So for item number 1, you look across the top row, and whoever bid highest on item number 1 gets it. So that's Alan, right? So Alan gets item number 1. Then do item 2, 3, 4, 5. So give away the items. Some people are going to get more than one item. Somebody might get none. I don't know. So give away the items, and then calculate the pay get, which is going to be all their objects minus their fair share. So it's going to be all their objects minus their fair share. Let's bring it down here. Minus their fair share. Come on. All right, so do that. I'll try to get that clicker thing going while you do that. So if you have a clicker, if you could run it up real quick, if you have a new clicker. If you hadn't been registered before, if you have one today and you didn't have it before. What's your last name?
Galley? Galle.
There you are, Elijah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now is there like a code? Oh yeah, could you read me that code right there? I can't even read it.
E.
It's AE?
Yeah. 0773.
0773. AE 0773.
Yeah.
Okay, got you down.
Cool.
Your last name?
Via.
Via. Let's see. Via. There you are. All right, could you read me? Yeah, that code right there.
9472 CF.
CF. Looks like a license plate. Okay, got it. Thanks. Anybody else have a new clicker today? We all good? Everybody who's got a clicker has had it registered. All right. All right, you guys getting them? So the pay get. So let's do the objects. So Alan gets the item 2. Carson gets item 3. Alan gets item 4. Alan's getting a lot of stuff. And Carson. So Bill gets nothing, huh? Is that good for the items? so Bill gets nothing. So then when we do bills, pay, get, we just take the objects that Bill got. Am I racing ahead? You guys okay to that point so far? Yeah.
So you're circling the highest bidder?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Just pick the highest bidder. Exactly right. Is that good for all the circling? Those are the highest bidder always gets the item. Okay, now for the pay get column, so we have the total, the fare, the pay get. You basically take all their objects, where for Bill is nothing, subtract his fare box. So Bill has no objects minus the fare box. So it'll just be minus the fare box. It'll just be negative 34,666,67. Good so far? Because he has no objects. Yeah.
I'm getting confused. Okay, so objects, so you're adding up how many items they have, right?
They're going to get the ones, so yeah, for Carson, I'm going to add up these two objects
Right,
and subtract his fare.
subtract the fare.
Right?
So
It's
like,
objects minus fare.
so you add up the 20,000, the 26,000,
Do it separately.
and then
Right.
you subtract it from 31,000.
And then subtract 31,000.
And then divide what you get there.
No dividing. We are just that.
Yeah, I did it though.
Yeah, so all you do for pay get is
Okay.
objects minus fare. That's
Got
all.
it. Alright.
Good? We all making sense? Yeah, so so for Carson, that's exactly right. So for Carson, we will do 20,000 plus 26. Those are his objects minus his fare, which is 31,666,67. Somebody got that for Carson? 46. So it'd be 14,033,333. Did I get that right? I might have messed up. 46. And I think that's right. Yeah, I think it's right. Is that right?
Yeah.
Got it? Okay. So everybody seen what I did there? So for Carson, just add up there, because you're finding out, if they've been given too much or too little, right? Because they each have a fair amount they should get. And by giving them objects, we may have given them too much or too little. We have to compensate or take money. Right? And now try Alan. Do Alan's fair share. So add up all of Alan's objects and subtract his fare. Give you a second there. Okay, so what's it come out for Alan? Anybody getting the Alan total? 33,666.67. Is that about 54, 74, 72? Yeah, that looks right to me. Uh-huh. You guys getting that? Everybody seeing how we're getting those numbers? And remember, negative is stuff they get from the estate, and positive is stuff they have to pay into the estate. Remember? Because it's from the estate's perspective. So if it's negative to the state, then it's coming out of the estate, going to us. Right? So negative is actually money we get. So that's when we say that Bill is negative 34,000. He's getting 34. And Carson and Alan are both positive, which means they have to pay money because they got too many objects. They got more than their fair share in objects, so they have to pay back some money. Right? Everybody seeing that? Okay, so now we can answer most of the questions. Yeah, I'll let you go back and answer the questions. The only thing left then is the surplus and the final settlement. So can we find the surplus? Remember how surplus works? What do we do for surplus? Yeah, surplus is adding up everything on the pay-get line. So surplus, that's the extra money left over. Surplus will be the negative, and put it in 34,666.67 plus, or you can start with the if it bugs you, you can start with the positive. It doesn't matter. So when you do all that, what do you get, guys?
13,333.33
All this 33 cents and 67 cents. So there is the surplus. Is that okay?
I know, you know, like the problem we just did before, you know how like, majority of the, the pay slash get, they were negative?
Yeah.
Why was that again? Because,
So the pay get negative was negative because that means they're getting more money. So basically, the person that got
Oh,
the
right.
house
Okay.
and the painting, the less expensive
Uh-huh.
stuff, also got money with it.
Uh-huh.
But the person that got the farm,
okay.
he had to pay because he got the most valuable
Oh,
thing.
okay, I see.
Yeah, good question. So is it making sense?
Yeah.
So they're getting stuff and they're getting money, and it's all balancing out to equaling their fair share. Or if they get lots of stuff like Alan, they gotta pay money back. Well, so did Carson actually, huh? Okay, last thing then is the final settlement. They'll ask you for the final settlement. How do we figure the final settlement? What do you do? It's all about what you do with that surplus. What do we do with this surplus money here, this extra money?
Divided by 3.
Divided by 3, there's 3 people, huh? So divide it by 3 and give it back to each of them. So when you divide that by 3, is it 4,000 something?
444 and 44 cents.
4,444. So that's extra to each. But remember, if it's given to them, that means it's negative, right? That's the thing you got to keep straight. It's like accounting, you know, if you're coming in the one side or the other. So it's negative 4,44444. Negative 4,44444. Negative 4,44444. And then do that. Now, so 2 negatives will add, right? For the final amounts here. So it'll be negative, I don't know, what is it, 39?
111 and 11 cents.
Okay. And this one will be 9,000 something.
It's 9,888 and 90 cents.
90, and then the last one is 20, it's 29. I think I can do this one, 22223. Yeah, that's gotta be right.
Yeah.
And what is that? This is final settlement. That last row, that's exactly what they get in the end. Well, negative is get, positive is pay. Right, so in the end, where they get and pay, and that's because we gave them back the extra, the surplus. So they got better than a fair share. Right, on the previous line we did fair. This was fair. The red was fair. The pay get was fair. That met their fairness right on. But then we had the extra surplus money. We divided it by 3, gave it back to each other. But remember to put that surplus in as negative, because remember, negative is get. And they're each getting more money back from the surplus. And negative is get, positive is to pay. So with that, you can answer all the questions. That's the hardest one. That's the worst one right there, number 2.
Wow.
3 will be a lot easier. Is that good to there? Is that making sense? Got that down? I'll flash that off if you got that down. It'll be on the YouTube though, later. You missed part of it. We good? We got it? All right. Let's try this one. So Ann, Betty, and Chia own a flower shop. They can't get along anymore and decided to break up the partnership using the method of sealed bids. So that's what we're doing. It's called sealed bids. With the understanding that one of them will get the flower shop, the other 2 will get cash. And bids, you know, they all bid. They're only bidding on one object. This can be a little tricky because we're used to having lots of objects. They're only bidding on one object. So what's going to happen? Can you do that one? It's kind of tricky when there's only one object and they're not giving us a nice table and everything. It's actually easier, but it's awkward because there's only one object. So remember the people, if you look back, the people always go across the top, don't they? See how we always have the people across top, objects down the side? So do the same thing. So you got the people across the top. So that would be, who is it, Ann? So we got Ann and Betty and Chia. Right? And then the object is the shop. I mean, it's only one object. That's all we got. We're just bidding on the one. Ann bids $330,000. Betty bids $360,000. And Chia bids only $300,000. Like that. All right, and we have our that is the total. You know, the total. There's only one object, so we don't need to add things up. That is the total. And so the next line, what comes after the total line? Is the fare. So you divide them all by 3 and you'll get the fare. So I can do that, I think. Okay, let me let you finish it from there. So there's the fare. You can finish it up. I'm glad to help. So I wandered around. Give me a minute so you can finish it up. Look back at the other tables about what comes next. Is Venus here? Venus? Okay, so remember, who gets the flower shop?
Betty.
Yeah, Betty bid the highest, huh? Betty bid the highest. She gets the flower shop. So remember how to do the pay get? The pay get is always the objects they get minus their fare. Right? The pay get is always the object they get minus their fair share. So when you come to Ann, what objects did Ann get? Nothing. Nothing minus her fair share is just minus her fair share. It's going to be minus 110,000, right? Good so far? How about Betty? The object she got minus her fair share. Keep going. Betty got something, right? So Betty got some. If you subtract hers, it comes out, what, 240? And then for the next person, it's just minus 100 because they didn't get any objects. Is that all making sense? So remember, the negative is what they get, and the positive is what they pay on that. So it looks like Ann and Chia are both going to get money, and Betty's going to have to pay them money because she's getting the shop. Do you see? It's a good point to stop right there and pause and see the kind of the genius of the method. Do you see how this method forces you to be honest in your bid, even if you're, really not wanting to be friendly with the other people? It forces you to be. Because you see how you might think, well, Betty got the shop. She just bid a little bit higher. Well, yeah, she did bid higher and she got the shop. So you might think, well, just if you want the shop, just go in and just bid super high. Just say, hey, it's $1 million. No, that won't be a good plan. Because if you bid like super high, falsely, lying, just to get shot, say you bid $1 million, what's going to happen here? We're going to take $1 million minus your fair share. You're going to be given the shop all right, but you said it's worth $1 million. If you say that shop is worth $1 million, remember what we do? We're going to subtract. We're going to take the object you got, what you said it was worth, minus your fair share. We take $1 million minus the fair. She would owe the rest like $800,000. And if she complained, we'd say, Betty, you're the one that said you thought the shop was worth $1 million. We gave you the shop. You're saying to us, we gave you $1 million. That means you got to share that. She's not going to be happy. We're going to say, yeah, you shouldn't have tried to fool the system. Shouldn't you, Betty? I wasn't so smart. Right? And then you think, well, Ann and Chia, they should just bid nothing or something. Well, if they just bid nothing, because they don't want the shop, and that'll just be a safe way. No, if they bid nothing, what's nothing divided by 3? It's nothing. Then their fair share would be nothing. They're going to get nothing. That's it. You can't cheat the system. Right? You need to be honest. If you try to do something tricky, it's going to trick you. Yeah?
In real life, they get appraisals for this? Or is it just...
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't know about much, but I would assume so. I mean, they could get appraisals, but it's not just, that's a good question, it's not just the fair market value. It's not just like, hey, Betty thinks, fair market value of the shop is 360. They just have different opinions. You can probably go on Google, or what is it? There's something for housing now where you can go on. What's the website? I was doing it a while ago when we sold our rental house. Anyway, whatever. You can get fair market right off the internet pretty quick for a lot of things. No, this is what it means to them, which may be more or less than fair market. You know what I mean? Like maybe Betty just loves the flower shop, and she's still young and got 20 years left before retirement, and she just really wants to work the flower shop. So to her, it might be worth more personally. Whereas Ann and Chia, they're like 65, they're ready to retire. They don't want to deal with it anymore. So to them, it's worth less. That's the genius of the system. It's not just fair market value. You can bid fair market value if you want to, but real life, people have different feelings depending on where they're at in life and what else they want to do. Things are worth more and less to different people, huh? This takes all that into consideration. Yeah. All right, anyway, that's not the final settlement though, is it? Let's do the final settlement. So what do we have left to do then? Because that's not the final answer. That's almost it, but not quite. Surplus, right? So let's get that surplus thing. How do we do surplus? Just add up all these guys, right? So surplus. Surplus will be, what is it? Negative 110,000 plus 240 minus 100,000. What is that? 30? I think that's just 30, isn't it? Yeah, 30,000. So the surplus is 30,000. Let me bring it down here. Surplus. That's the extra money. That's the extra money in the account. After everybody's been given their stuff, their fair share, there's $30,000 extra. And what do we do with the surplus? Divided by 3. 3 people, and give it back to each of them, 10,000 each, right? $30,000 divided by 3, 10,000 each. But remember, it's negative 10,000 because they're getting it. Remember, negative. So negative 10,000. So this is the final deal. Negative 10,000 is the extra they get. Negative 10,000. Final line will be the final settlement. So this will be what? Negative 120. And this will be 230. That's what Betty has to pay. And negative 110. There we go. When all is said and done, that's what will be done. Betty gets the flower shop, but she has to pay $230,000 to her 2 friends. Ann takes 120 of that. Chia takes the 110 of that. And that's the way it's settled. That's what they could really use. It's what they do use in some situations to settle these kinds of matters. So math is, what do we see here? Math is coming in, helping society divide things up, right? That's what this chapter is all about. How can math help people divide things fairly? Even when they're not wanting to be fair. Even when they're trying to cheat the system. Even when they have different values. And people like different things more and less depending on what they're doing in life. This will still make it fair in everybody's value system. questions then on that? Is that all good? Were those the right answers? I hope those were the right answers. 120, what did it say back here? Oh, did I even? No, I didn't even.
You had it different.
Did I? Oh, it's right there in front of me, yeah. It's right there. Ann gets 120, yep. Ann got 120. And Chia gets 110, Chia gets 110. It's right there in front of me, yep. That's right. That's exactly what happened. All right, so that's 3.2. Let's stop that.